Rasheda Robinson here from Pratt Injury Lawyers. I'm super excited to be here to answer a few questions about my journey in honor of Black History Month.
So Rashida, during your time in college or law school, what adversity did you face being a minority and a woman?
Well, I attended a PWI for undergrad, and during that time, I didn't experience any adversity. However, there were obvious opportunities in which I missed simply because I wasn't exposed or was not aware of different opportunities that were available.
What inspired you to pursue your legal career?
So as a child, my biological family and my church family, which is Flat Rock AME down in Interville, South Carolina, they would enter me into these speaking competitions in which I would recite a poem. The very first poem I ever recited was called the Black History Speech, in which I honored several monumental heroes from our history. And through those experiences, I really found my voice, and I really learned just how effective and how my words can simply move people. My voice became the catalyst for my legal career. I learned that I can use my voice to empower people, to lift people up, and to advocate on their behalf.
So, as a child growing up in the South, were there any specific moments in your childhood that really stood out to you?
So growing up as a child, I was surrounded by an abundance of love. My mother and her siblings, which there are approximately 10 of them, their parents passed away when they were children, so they were actually raised by my great-grandmother. So love and family became the core value that was instilled in me and all of the other offspring. So my mother's motto growing up to me was always, I want you to be better than me, I want you to have more than me, and I want to do anything that I can to help you achieve your goals. So that's something that I've always carried with me. So love, family, respect, those core values are really what have made me who I am today.
While you were growing up, were there any moments you felt disadvantaged from your peers?
So there were never moments that I necessarily felt disadvantaged from my peers. However, growing up in a single parent household comes with obvious things in which I may not have gotten the opportunity to do just because my mom worked a lot. So there were some things that I just didn't get the opportunity to explore as a child.
And did any of these moments inspire or discourage your outlook on yourself or your future?
Absolutely not. My mom has always been super supportive, and so has my family, in me achieving any of the goals that I have. Even in attending law school, her and my family, they all jumped on board with my husband so that I could pursue this career.
Who are some of the notable figures in your life that really inspired you as a child?
So, family doesn't necessarily always have to be your blood. So there were several figures in the church in which I grew up with. One of them being Pastor Cornell Morton, who is currently deceased, but he was the pastor that was present as a child when I began public speaking and really standing alongside of me. In addition to that, there was my mom. She's always been hardworking, always dedicated to whatever she needed to do so that her kids could have a great life. And my aunts, I come from a strong line of resilient women, and I hope that one day I am half the woman that they are.
What does being one of the very few practicing African American attorneys in Anderson County mean to you?
For me, it's an honor, and it's an opportunity for me to be a pioneer and really to be an example and a mentor for another little girl from a small town that has very big dreams.
Can you tell us a little bit about your journey to becoming a lawyer, what it took, and how you got to where you are today?
Sure. So when I was in the fifth grade, my fifth grade teacher's name was Miss Davis at Varinas Elementary School. And I actually had to do an assignment about becoming an attorney. This was sparked by my initial exposure to public speaking. I love to speak. I love communicating. I love using my voice. And I always knew I wanted to be a lawyer, and so I attended undergrad at the University of South Carolina. Upon graduating, I ended up getting married and having children, so I didn't go directly into law school. However, after working for approximately 6 years at Orion Rugs as a sales analyst and a sales forecaster, I knew that something in me, I needed to be doing something else, which was following my dream to be a lawyer. It never died, even as time passed. So one day my husband said, apply, and I did, and I got accepted, and I quit my job, and I drove back and forth to Atlanta every day for 2.5 years, 3 to 6 hours in a car ride, just to attend law school.
How has your experience as an African American woman shaped your view on the legal system?
So as an African American woman in this profession, I understand that there are so few of me, which means that I am a force to be reckoned with. I understand where I come from, who I am, and what sacrifices were truly made for me to get where I'm going. So I always approach the position that I am in from a place of gratitude, humility, and a willingness not only to help, but to teach and touch as many as I can.
Are there any African American figures in law that really inspire you?
For me, I truly am inspired by the modern day woman, the woman who is the jack of all trades. So Michelle Obama to me is that. She's a lady of strength. She was a lawyer. She went to Harvard Law. She's an educator, and she's a pioneer, and she's an amazing wife and an amazing mom. And I hope that I'm all of those things.
Is there a moment in your journey that you can think of that really stood out to you and made you think, this is what I meant to do and this is why I do this?
So I believe that with anything you do, there is a risk. And once you head down one path, you don't truly know until you know that you're doing what you're meant to do. And that moment came to me when I was interning at the Federal Public Defender's Office in Greenville, South Carolina, during my second year in law school. There was a gentleman who was having trouble connecting with his attorney. Part of that was the cultural barrier. He was an African American male in his mid-30s, and he was sitting directly across the table from a Caucasian male who is dressed in a three-piece suit. And this attorney was communicating to him, and although everything this attorney was saying to him, the client really had a difficult time connecting what he was saying. And in that moment, I knew and was able to identify that it was a cultural barrier. So I stepped in and explained to him exactly what his attorney was explaining to him. And we ended up going to court the next week, and he ended up getting an even better deal than what he had originally anticipated. And as he's walking back to complete his sentence, he yells to me as I'm sitting out in the gallery section, and he waves his hand. He says, "Miss Robinson, thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you." It was that moment that I knew that I was doing exactly what I was meant to do. My communication with him was amazing, and he truly valued me and everything that I was able to bring to the table.
So what accomplishments in your life make you feel celebrated during Black History Month, and what would you like to achieve for yourself and your community in the future?
So as I reflect, and being a middle 30-year-old woman, as I reflect on my journey and how I got here, I recognize that I'm resilient, I'm strong, I'm empowered, I'm motivated, and I can do anything that I put my mind to. So as Black History Month approaches, I look at myself as hoping to make my own stamp in history and have some little girl say, "Hey, that lady did it, and so can I."